Hello there everyone, welcome to Dragon Tail Tarot. My name is Ariel and today we will be talking about the wonderful, dearly departed YouTube artist Apetor, whose real name was Tor Eckhoff. He was a fabulous member of the YouTube community who really touched millions of people across the world. He had over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He had made quite a number of videos over the last 15 or so years. And he's somebody that I definitely enjoyed very, very much and was very saddened to hear of his recent passing. It's definitely been, you know, kind of that bittersweet. It's like you're still enjoying and smiling and laughing along with his old videos, but you know, knowing that he has passed is just, yeah, it's very tough. And I just wanted to kind of, you know, make this video. I am an astrologer and tarot reader. I have been working in those fields for over 20 years. And so what I'm actually going to be doing today is looking at the astrology chart of Tor Eckhoff. We're going to get deep into, you know, his astrology, what his basic, you know, personality, kind of life energy was, and what made him such a unique kind of soul. He's definitely someone that will be extremely, extremely missed. And I'm sure I haven't even been watching him as long as a lot of you folks out there. And, you know, I've just seen so many videos about him people have made, and it's just a very emotional time. He really did come across very much as this very beautiful, genuine kind of person. He very often, of course, his videos had so much to do with the Norwegian landscape or the areas or wherever he was hiking or walking or filming. And it really gave you that sense of being there, even if you'd never been there. It just made you feel like, wow, you know, you're really getting this window into this beautiful place that he lived and obviously loved. He had just this very, very strong humor that appealed to everyone. Most of the time, he would make his funny sounds. He'd do his eep, eep, or he'd do his little sounds. And, you know, it was like it really helped you connect no matter who you were, because it was beyond any language barrier or even cultural difference. And I think there is something very true that when someone else is being silly and just embracing, you know, that kind of goofiness, it's like it puts us at ease and it just makes us feel happier and more open to be silly and authentic ourselves. And I think those are some of the things he really, you know, that's the things that reached out to people. And of course, I would also say that, you know, his wild antics, his adventures, his spirit of, you know, taking risks and doing things that were just really wild, like, you know, diving into the ice, you know, ice skating with the chainsaw, all the different things that he would do. And then, of course, just some of his humor was so unique and very one of a kind. There really, truly, as far as I know, isn't really anyone else quite like him as to what he was doing on YouTube. And so I came across Tor, his channel, about, I'm guessing almost 4 years ago. Almost 4 years. And it was my sweetheart, my guy, who introduced me to his channel, and he said, have you ever seen this guy? And he's crazy and all this. And I said, oh no, I haven't seen him. And so I started watching the videos, and I really, you know, got to where I looked forward so much, you know, whenever he would put something new out, it was always a treat. And so what actually happened, as far as I know, as far as I think anybody knows online, is his birthday was on November 22nd. So he would have been a Sagittarius, very, you know, early first degree Sagittarius. And always on his birthday, he would make this funny video. And it was always the same. It would say, I am not dead. I am this many years old today. And so he had that little tradition going for years, you know, where he would do that. I'm not dead. I'm 56 today, or I'm 54 today, whatever his age was. And so, as per usual, for his birthday this year, he had turned 57, and he made his video. I am not dead. I'm 57 years old today. And so he did that, and then only, I believe, 4 days later, 4 days after his birthday, I think it was November 26th, anyone can correct me on anything that I'm wrong on, he was filming just as usual, as he'd done probably hundreds or thousands of times before, and he broke through the ice and was not able to get back out. As far as I know, he was ice skating and filming it, which he had done many, many, many times. And, you know, I'm not sure if he was injured during the fall, and that's what, you know, kept him from not being able to get out as easily, because he certainly seemed very strong, very, very knowledgeable of how to navigate that, because he did it all the time. So I'm not sure if he was actually injured during the fall, and that, you know, was partly what prevented him being able to as easily get out, or if the ice was just thin, something or other. That's a little unclear on how it actually went down. And, you know, until or unless the family and the loved ones want to, you know, share all the details with us, it's good not to, you know, suppose too much. But in any event, he was not able to get back out of the water, stayed in too long, and probably due to a combination of drowning and, you know, the cold, you know, succumbed to that. And they were able to get him out, took him to the hospital, and tried very hard to, you know, revive him, but were not able to do so, and he passed away. So it is an extreme, it's very sad. I've definitely, when I first found out, I was just sort of in disbelief, and I've had my number of tears shed over it. And it does, it hits very hard, because I think that, you know, he had done all those things, all his stunts and all his, you know, things for so long, that even though you knew it was very, you know, some dangerous stuff, some definite risk-taking stuff he was doing, he felt a little invincible, because he navigated it time and time again. So you kind of figured, well, yeah, it's a risk, but he knows what he's doing, more or less, and it's just going to be a great loss. It is. It's just that nothing else one can say about that. It's very sad. Another thing that I would share about my personal experiences with him is that at the beginning of this year, 2021, I'm a Capricorn, I'm born in January, and over the last few years, I've got this wonderful astrology client that I do charts and readings for, named Hilda, and she lives in Norway as well. So of course, I had to share Tor's channel with her, and we had a really fun time, you know, just giggling about him and saying, oh, he's born to be wild and all of that, you know. And so he had a little service that he provided. I didn't know about it before this, but what he would do is you could pay him a small fee and ask him to create a message for a friend or loved one, like for their birthday, anniversary, just for whatever. And so my friend in Norway, Hilda, reached out to him, had him make a message for me on my birthday this year. And when she sent that to me, I just couldn't believe it. It was the coolest thing. It brought such a smile to my face. It was such a wonderful treat and surprise. And definitely brought that more personal connection into, you know, knowing and loving his channel. So that was my other experience. And I did post, I posted the video about 5 or 6 days ago, the message that he created for me, which was really sweet, and definitely in his classic fashion. So let's go ahead, and we're going to talk about his chart. We're going to talk about some of his, you know, life energy, some of his, you know, main elements and themes for life. As always, with anything like this, I am not trying to completely delineate or diagnose anything here. This is really just for, you know, my own interest and the interest of anyone else who might be wanting to learn a little bit more about our beloved Tor Eckhoff. He was born on November 22nd, 1964. Unfortunately, I do not have a accurate birth time for him. I had to play with that a little bit, so I decided to give him a Pisces rising, and I'll explain why I chose that in a little bit. The rising sign is dependent on the time of birth, and it shows you the zodiac sign that is coming up on the eastern horizon when you are born. That is what's called the rising sign, or sometimes the ascendant sign. So, you know, like I am a Aquarius rising. That's the sign that was coming up on the eastern horizon when I was born. And that shows a lot about the way a person presents themselves, the way that other people experience them in the public. And so that's why I chose a Pisces rising for Tor Eckhoff, because I had to say that if I had to think, what is it that I, really get from him, and it could be other risings as well, but I really felt connected to the Pisces rising because Pisces is a very creative kind of sign. It's very imaginative and very one of a kind in its, a creative expression. The other thing, of course, is Pisces is a water sign. Loves to swim, loves water, loves the elements of water. And yes, they also enjoy a little bit of the drinking. And Tor almost always featured his famous sips of vodka or other spirits or libations in his videos. And so kind of putting that all together, along with the slightly surreal quality in some of his work, I had to say that I felt strongest that he might be a Pisces rising. He also did kind of have those eyes, Pisces definitely have like the dreamy eyes or the kind of expressive eyes, and he definitely had that as well. Pisces tends to express more through feeling, emotion, sound, than necessarily a lot of intellectual discourse. And so that's why I chose that. I may not be right about it, but that's what I personally experienced and felt very strongly that he showed to the world. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of this chart. I'm going to put this up. Hopefully my camera will not get too fuzzy on us. And we're going to just go piece by piece into his birth placements. So here is the sun sign. This is what we talk about when someone ever asks, what's your sign? We're talking about the sun sign. So the sun sign, like I said, he was born right on the very beginning of Sagittarius, so 0 degrees of Sagittarius. And in general, I will say that the earlier you are born into a sign, the more you will be like that sign. And a Sagittarius personality, absolutely, he embodied it completely. Sagittarius energy is adventurous, likes to travel, likes to move around, likes to do all sorts of, expansive and unusual things. They do tend to be seekers, searchers. They like to have a deep spiritual life many times, or at least be in the search for a spiritual life. They're very adventurous. They're very bold. They're very jovial. They're very upbeat. They have a very optimistic sense of life. The joie de vivre is very strong with Sagittarius spirit. They are the 9th sign of the Zodiac, and so, they bridge the gap between the Capricorn energy, the materialization, and the 8th sign that precedes them, Scorpio, right? So they're right in the middle of that. They are a masculine fire sign, positive alignment, and ruled by the expansive planet of Jupiter. So those are the things that we know about Sagittarius. I would say that Tor definitely showed the Sagittarius energy. He was very fiery, adventurous, dynamic. Nothing seemed impossible for him or to him, especially when it came to his his adventures in the wide world. So then when we look at his moon sign, the moon sign is really the subconscious, right? The opposite side of the sun in a lot of ways. This is the more hidden elements of someone. But they are the deep needs of the soul. And so anytime you look at your moon sign, it's going to give you a lot of understanding about what it is that you need to feel happy, connected, and just cozy deep down inside. So his moon sign was in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is a very different sign to the sign of Sagittarius, so you can see a lot of differences between the basic consciousness and identity with, the unconscious, the subconscious energies of Cancer. Now, Cancer loves to be home. They love to be cozy, secure. They enjoy their food, they enjoy their little creature comforts, and you can definitely see that side of him. And I would say the biggest thing that you know, on the public level, the way that he expressed that Cancer moon was through a love of his home, a love of Norway itself. And so even though he loved to travel, even though he did the Sagittarius thing with lots of movement, you know, born to run free, born to be wild, right? He also had that deep love of home, maybe traditions. He probably had favorite foods or favorite things, you know, that he really loved, that, you know, he probably loved since he was a kid. So you can definitely see that side of it for us, was that he really, you know, although he loved to travel and move around, he really did love his home. He really did feel connected to it, and he showed that very much throughout all of his work. So then we're going to get into Venus. Venus is definitely our planet of love, social connections, the way that we are able to connect with others. And so that Venus sign was in the sign of Libra. Libra is one of the best places for Venus to be because it's one of its dignified places. It is very happy there. The sign of Libra is ruled by the planet Venus, and so they create a very natural fit. And I will say, Venus in Libra is somebody everybody tends to like. And they tend to kind of like everybody in a lot of respects. I'm sure, you know, not every Libra Venus is going to say, well, I don't like everybody, but they, at least even the people they don't like, they try to be diplomatic with. They try to be harmonious. In general, it is a diplomatic, peace-loving sign that seeks balance and harmony in its personal relationships. This is also why somebody doing public work the way he did would have a good response, because people tend to like those who have Venus in Libra. There's just something friendly, something appealing, something that gives them a good feeling. And that's where that one comes in very strongly. I would also point out the Neptune position right here. It's not what I would call a conjunction to the sun. It is somewhat close. Neptune is definitely a sign of creativity and imagination, which I think he had very strongly. I really do. And, you know, that comes in as the ruler of Pisces as well. If I'm correct in my assumption that he may have been a Pisces rising, that would have a lot of impact as well. I don't think that everything was perfectly easy for him. I think he probably went through a lot of struggles when he was younger, and I feel that he came out of that the older that he got. And I think that he was really truly born to communicate in some way, and I think that he truly found his niche. He found his own personal kind of expression, because he comes from the past lifetimes, past incarnations in the Sagittarius energy, which is many times a lonely life of solitary seeking. And he came into, you know, the world with the North Node pointing towards Gemini. So Gemini is all about talking. It's about communication. It's about sharing your ideas and thoughts with others. And so I really feel that he completed quite a lot of his life's journey. He really did. He, you know, even though it's so sad to see him go in, you know, our estimation way too soon, I do feel that he fulfilled quite a lot of his mission while he was here. And his Mercury sign, that is the ruler of Gemini, it really is connected to that. He brought through a lot of fun, a lot of things that really tended to unify people, and brought just a lot of joy, a lot of positive feelings, a lot of upliftment. His videos could, you know, be appreciated by anyone because they weren't trying to push anything, sell anything, proselytize anything. It was simply him showing his unique enjoyment of life. And I think that people responded to that greatly. And it's beautiful that he was able to give us that while he was here. It truly is. It's such a gift. Interestingly enough, and this is something where I'm going to break in a little bit, he was also born in the Chinese lunar year of the dragon, which is another reason I connected to him so much, because I am also born in a Chinese year of the dragon. And so, yes, he was a dragon personality. Dragons in the Chinese cycle are just powerful, fun, upbeat, uplifting, boundless energy and tend to be quite lucky in a lot of ways. They do. They tend to have, I don't know, for me, what I love about being a dragon is it's sort of like, no matter how hard life may get, no matter how down things may be, I'm always able, I always say I kick my own butt really well, and I can kind of get myself back up out of that. The dragon in the lunar cycle is associated with the Western zodiac sign of Aries. So again, he was a very fiery type personality. Sagittarius being an air sign, the sign of the dragon being associated with a fire sign. Again, very fiery, creative, big love of life, a big, big heart. Dragon people do have big hearts. They can get hurt very easily. They can be a lot more sensitive than people think. And they can appear to be very invincible, which he certainly did. He appeared to just be kind of this larger than life, epic, legendary kind of energy. Those are the big words that I see on all the comments under his video. People will say the man, the myth, the legend, the icon, the epic, you know, person. It's like that is the energy that he really came through with. And I absolutely understand why people would feel that. So, getting into his ruling planet, Jupiter. And it's interesting because I also have Jupiter in Taurus because, you know, every 12 years when that dragon cycle comes around, Jupiter cycles are also 12 years. So he and I both had that same Jupiter sign, very interestingly. Jupiter in Taurus, absolutely. Strong love of the senses. They enjoy things that taste good, feel good, whatever it is, whether it's a sip of vodka, you know, whether it's, you know, making a soup or whatever he enjoyed eating, his chocolate, the different things he would munch on. I'll never forget laughing so hard at one of his videos that said, I've got to have the fish, it's healthy. And he was eating the Swedish fish and I'm like, oh my word. But that is definitely a placement that would enjoy the sensual world and also the earthy world, because Taurus energy is the earth. It's a strong connection to the trees, the rocks, the water, the ground itself. And as we know, Taurus likes to touch, taste, and feel everything. And what did he go around doing quite a lot? He'd lick everything. He'd touch everything. People, oh my goodness, would laugh so much. I would always see so many comments about that. That, you know, he was always, whatever it was, he'd give it a lick. So that definitely shows in that placement as well. The places where you can see a lot of inner intensity, folks, and where you can see the potential for, you know, accidents, or, you know, any kind of, you know, risk or danger is really seen right here. And this is a tough one. It really is. Now, he was born, you know, in 64, and everybody kind of in that mid-60s, they all came in with this Pluto conjunction to Uranus in Virgo. All of them had that because that's a generational thing. These are slow-moving planets, and so pretty much everyone that came in around that time of, you know, the cycle got this placement. Now, what makes this a lot more intense is the position of Mars. Now, Mars, of course, is the ruler of Aries. Traditionally, it was the ruler of Scorpio, and it has to do with firepower. It has to do with direction, aggression, drive, impulsiveness, acting before you think, and all that kind of thing. Now, I would say with a Mars position in Virgo, overall, I would say that Tor was probably a very organized person. He may have even been a little OCD in some ways, where he really planned things out quite well. And I would say that that's probably what led to him not having, you know, too many horrible accidents or things, even though he was doing very risky stunts. But the fact that Mars is placed very close to Pluto and Uranus is what throws the hitch in this and what can create the potential for danger or, you know, accidents or tragic events, because Pluto is a planet of life, death, and rebirth. It rules Scorpio, and so this can have a lot of intensity to it. Uranus rules Aquarius, and it has to do with unpredictable events, unpredictable energies, electrical kind of patterns, offbeat stuff. I think this was very beautifully expressed through his personal energy when it comes to Mars, because he definitely, you know, he wasn't afraid to be weird. He wasn't afraid to be his authentic self. And that is what, you know, partly drew people to him, is that he was just so authentically him. But when it comes to the combination of Mars, when it comes to physical, unpredictable events, this could be a situation where with Mars in Virgo, most of the time everything goes really well, but then this very unpredictable, unforeseen event could happen at some point in the life, and it's just, you know, just like Uranus, it's unpredictable. That's the point of it. You don't know when or if it will ever come. I think he could have gone through his life without it happening, but it's not surprising that it did, because this energy, this position kind of sets it up for those unpredictable events, those unpredictable things that come around. He was also getting ready to go into his second Saturn return here. Saturn currently is in the sign of Aquarius, and so that's what he was born with. And sometimes those Saturn returns can certainly bring up kind of a crunch of energy. It's almost as if you reach a crisis point or a breaking point where something, you know, unfortunate can happen. And so having that position in transit could have certainly set it up for something like that to occur. And tragically it did. So it's, you know, he's just, I think, had a really incredible sort of life. We're really going to miss him. I'm really going to miss him. It's so sad, you know. Talking to Hilda, I was like, you know what, when I come visit you in Norway, I would love to go try to find him, you know. It would be so fun to like send him a message and see if he just wants to hang out and chat. But I do feel that also with those positions of this Pluto, I do feel that he has the sort of energy that will be a bit deathless. I feel like people will be enjoying his videos and his work for many years to come. He's certainly not going to be forgotten. I think he was a genuinely true-hearted, good soul that at the end of the day, especially when it came to all of us out there in the world, just wanted us to enjoy our life a lot more, and really showed that to us about how, you know, those simple joys, those simple pleasures can be the best. And I just am going to miss him so much. Love to hear your personal experiences, how you found his videos, messages you might have shared back and forth. You can put all that down below in the comment section. I'm not really a vodka drinker, but I did pour out a cup of spicy tea here in my Sagittarius cup, honoring his sign. And yes, we're going to take a little drink of this here. Can't do it as good as him, but we can still do it. So, eep, eep, and from our heart to yours. And love you, Tor, wherever you are out there in the cosmos. You're a good one. Thank you so much for being in our life and brightening our world. And we'll see you all down the road, folks. Take care.